Race for covering the first eight's grand final for the call. Let's send it back to Mandy.
Here we are. Grand final, first eights. And as Justin indicated, they're going to get a little bit better. Every crew here, when you're challenged, brings out the next level within themselves. This ought to be a great race, a lot of close times. You've got Michigan in lane 1, Ohio State in 2, Washington 3, Rutgers 4, UCLA 5, and the Hoosiers in lane 6. Big points here with this race. Beautiful conditions. All crews are sitting at the catch, just waiting for direction from the officials. You see the lane assignments there. Again, the tension and excitement at the start of each race is something else. And as I was indicating in a conversation earlier, it's so great now what we are able to see and view in rowing. Long time ago, you maybe saw 20 strokes. Now we get to see the thing from start to finish, which is awesome. Some crews are touching it to make sure that they're heading straight down the course. They're sitting ready. Washington's making an adjustment. I'm not sure you can see it, but 2 seats handing their oar handle to 3 seat. So it doesn't pull the boat away from the stake boat holder. You have an easier impact, less strokes to be taken.
Ohio State, Washington.
Now they're all sitting at the catch.
Rutgers, UCLA.
All the hands are down.
Indiana. Attention. Go.
The red flag is up, and they're off. Here we are, grand final, first 8, Big 10 championships. Great start by everybody. Look at this. Bow ball to bow ball. Super tight, exciting. It's even here. It's unbelievable. This is kind of what we expect here. Every crew, some crews came in with faster times, but we don't know what the other crews did in the heats. They knew maybe they are already qualified. Right now, it looks like Washington's getting ever so slightly them, and Indiana is right there. Now Rutgers pulling ahead of Indiana slightly. Again, it's very early. We've got a lot of race to happen. Indiana tends to be really strong in the second 1,000. They're going to want to maintain contact. Washington's got the coxswains on almost on 7 seat of Rutgers from this angle. They are the coxswains on, the Washington coxswain is on 3 seat of Ohio State. Again, we're early in it. Michigan's right there with Ohio State. They are actually a seat ahead of Ohio State. This is a great race here. Michigan almost seems even with Rutgers. Man, look at this. Got Ohio State even with Indiana. UCLA is still there. All boats in contact here in the grand final. Washington extending their lead. Rutgers is in second. There's Washington right there. Good power in that boat. You can see it. You can see it in those puddles. They're extending their lead over Rutgers. Coxswain's on the bow deck. Rutgers has their lead over Ohio State. You got Michigan seems to be a little bit down on Ohio State. UCLA seems to have pulled into third. Their coxswain is maybe on, you can't see from this angle, but I'm going to guess the 6th seat. Washington's coxswain is, Rutgers has made a move, so now the Washington's coxswain's in line with the bow seat of Rutgers heading into this 500. You can see how close the times are there. For the first 500, UCLA seems to still be now maybe even with Ohio State for that third place position. Indiana still in contact quite a bit with UCLA, which is great going into this part of the race for them. Washington's coxswain has gotten herself and her crew into the bow deck of Rutgers, probably even with the bow ball at this point. She just looked over, and you know she told her crew that, and they can see it. They're wanting to make a statement for their whole team. This is the second event, basically. You know, we've had the fourth eights. Now we've got the first eights here. She's probably going to ask for some open water or get bow to stern at this point as they're in that third 500. From this angle, it's hard to tell. Of course, UCLA seems to be ahead of Indiana, but we don't know where Michigan is or Ohio State. You can look down the course. There's still contact. Now the Washington coxswain has herself in front of the bow ball. There's Ohio State. I believe they're in front of UCLA at this point. They're ahead of Michigan. They might be bow to stern on Michigan, looking from the tower. Washington's got good length and good power per stroke. I've got them around 38. Indiana's maintained their position versus UCLA. It'll be interesting if they start to bring it up. They seem to be moving ever so slightly up on them. Rutgers seems to be still in second place. There's no open water yet. Rutgers is bringing it up. I've got them at 39. And we are in that last 500 right here of the first states, the grand final. Most points of any event right here. Washington is about to break open water. They're not there yet from this angle, but they're very close. Rutgers trying right now, bringing it up even more. Really sharp catches. Washington can hold on to this. And then you've got Ohio State that appears to have gone in front of UCLA, but UCLA is bringing it up again. Here we go, right in the finish here. Last 250, Washington bringing it up. Look at that race. Great job, Washington, strong. Rutgers holding off Ohio State. Ohio State moving. UCLA challenging, issuing a challenge to Ohio State. Michigan bringing it up, trying to get themselves in front of Indiana. Here we go. Washington has won the first eight, followed by Rutgers. Very close. Ohio State just nips out UCLA, and Michigan is going to finish right in front of Indiana.
Tremendous job from Washington. They won by only 4 feet against Rutgers on Friday. When we talked, you just heard Caroline Hendershot talk to Coach Yasmin Farouk. She wasn't worried at all, and for good reason, as they won in fairly dominant fashion.
They did. They were able to keep an almost entire boat length ahead of Rutgers. Rutgers put in a valiant fight, but the real upset there was that Ohio State and UCLA fight for that last place position here in the varsity eights.
132 team points as the final results. Washington, Rutgers, and Ohio State 1, 2, and 3. Already in progress as part of our coverage of the Big Ten Rowing Championships. Let's send it back to Mandy for the second eights petite final.
And like Dean said, we're in the second eights petite final at the Big Ten Championship. Out of the gates here, we're just about to pass the breakage point. Not sure people know that the first 100 meters, if something happens with the boat, they're able to stop the race. We are past that. Right now, it seems that UCLA might be slight lead in front of Minnesota, who is over Indiana. Indiana seems to have a slight lead over Michigan State, and Michigan State has about 6 seats over Wisconsin. Another great shot here. UCLA maintaining the lead just ever so slightly over Minnesota, but Minnesota seems to be charging at this point. Gophers took a move, and they want to put their boats in front of UCLA. UCLA has a counter move here, regaining a couple seats from this angle. Again, it's super close. You've got that race up there between UCLA and Minnesota, and the next race you have between Indiana and Michigan State. Michigan State's coxswain is now on Wisconsin's bow ball. UCLA has extended their lead over Minnesota. Their coxswain appears to be on 6th seat. Minnesota trying to push back into that. Indiana has pushed their lead out over Michigan State. Spartans trying to hold on to the Hoosiers, but the Hoosiers are making a big move, and they're trying to get even with Minnesota. Their catches are nice and sharp. Moving really well here and trying to bring in Minnesota, and as a result are bringing themselves back into UCLA. It's a great race. You can see it there. Indiana bringing themselves back into the picture and possibly into second place at this point. So far, a beautiful race. UCLA trying to extend their lead. Minnesota just took a move here. They put themselves in front of Indiana slightly. Well, this angle here, sometimes it depends on where the drone is. There's the buoys. Now it's almost even between Indiana and Minnesota. What a great race. Let's get a check on the ratings. Got Minnesota somewhere around 36. Indiana, I have it 38. So look at that. You can see the intensity, just the dogfight here between Indiana and UCLA and Indiana and Minnesota. UCLA trying to extend their lead at coxswain, wanting open water. As a rower, they get to see themselves pull away from the other crews. Again, look at this race between Indiana and Minnesota. What a dogfight here. Indiana's making a move. They're slightly in front. Again, it's hard to tell. Still dang close. UCLA has created some open water right now. They're trying to move. And right here, stroke for stroke, you can see there, between those two crews, Michigan State's trying to get in contact with Minnesota again, but Minnesota has open water on them. And they're coming into the last 500, few strokes, and they're going to be there. UCLA still has the lead. They haven't extended it. Minnesota seems like they're reeling back in UCLA. There's less open water, and now they're making a move here. Their coxswain is on 7 seat. Moving ahead, you can tell by the buoy lines there, and they're closing in on UCLA. They might not have enough time to get them, but if they're not going to get them, they're going to want second. They're making a bigger move right here on Indiana. Indiana's trying to hold them off. We can't see them in the screen there. Michigan State's working really hard to bring in Minnesota. Minnesota's great catches right now. That's going to help when they're trying to get that boat speed up. Can they bring the rate up? Indiana's not going away. They're charging. Minnesota seems to still have the lead from that angle. Michigan State trying to keep their edge over Wisconsin. UCLA still in the lead here. Great race between Minnesota and Indiana. Really driving towards the finish line, all crews. Minnesota wants that victory over Indiana, bringing it up even more. UCLA with the victory in the petite final, followed by Minnesota, Indiana, Michigan State, and Wisconsin. Great race there.
All right, we are halfway through the 2026 Big 10 Rowing Championships from Indianapolis. The Washington Huskies, your winners last year, your leaders right